Coming up on today's wrestling news, it's AEW versus GCW as Ricky Starks is pulled from bookings.
Ricky Starks also reveals backstage heat from his WWE visits.
AEW Grand Slam confirmed moving to a smaller building.
And AEW bringing an ex-WWE host. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news.
It is, and there's kind of only one place to start, but there's a lot to unpack here. Right, we've gone with a very sensational AEW versus GCW, but for a change, it's not entirely clickbait. There is a bit of a rift opening up between the two sides.
Yeah.
Right? So Ricky Starks, I'm going to go into more details from him because he is a newsworthy figure yet again. He appeared for GCW over the weekend in that awesome show they did in the mall. He came down the escalator with his shopping bag and he kind of talked about being frozen out in other places. Again, there's constant speculation around Ricky Starks and more like the when rather than the if about maybe things might be changing in his career.
Exactly.
Anyway, as part of that, he was obviously integrated within GCW storylines. He was then booked for a match against Matt Cardona, as well as, I think, two other shows that he was announced to work that one can presume would have also featured matches, including GCW's event at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is taking place shortly after AEW are running there in December. So already, it's like, oh, this is quite an interesting overlap. Well, it ain't happening no more. So if you're excited, stop. Instead, get excited about the juice and the goss.
Yes.
Because Fight for Select, who've done some brilliant reporting on this, kind of confirmed that GCW sources have said that Ricky Starks has been pulled from planned upcoming appearances by AEW. The decision was made on November 26 and related to Starks. So it's kind of like pretty much
yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty much like fresh off the plate. We're told that AEW would take an exception to GCW talent Effie bringing up Shad Khan on a recent podcast in regards to, there's the podcast that Wilborn's been listening to with Effie. In regards to AEW running the Hammerstein, and Effie's words were along the lines of, we're not backed by a billionaire, where Shad pays Tony Khan to stay away. So it got kind of personal in the F thing. He made some personal remarks about Tony Khan and his family. After that, AEW was not interested in having Ricky Starks work in GCW. We're told that Ricky is able to work indies outside of GCW, but AEW was not interested in effectively paying Starks to wrestle for them. There was some within AEW that had suggested working his GCW appearance into a work, but we're told that wasn't the case. So this is all for real as much as we know for now. Kind of are you able to kind of keep up with all of that? There is a little bit more to the story as well. Ibu from Wrestle Purists, ever reliable, just adds at the bottom, sort of in response to somebody sharing the Effie comments on X and probably everywhere on social media you might have seen by this point, adding, it's a line in the sand. They're not letting anybody from their company take GCW bookings going forward. So we can indeed assume that this is far from just a Ricky Starks issue.
Yes.
A personal divide has immediately become professional, and for now, they're on opposite sides.
Yes, we'll get a little bit more into Ricky Starks and backstage heat for WWE stuff and whatever's going on with them in due course. And here it just feels like he's in the middle of something that's not really his fault whatsoever. Like you say, this is a row between the two companies that just happens to feature Ricky Starks. Wild this, isn't it? Just, you just say one thing and that's it, basically. I mean, I can understand the reaction from AEW, but at the same time, it is disappointing that you're depriving fans of seeing Ricky Starks or any AEW stars going forward. It's
interesting as well that GCW had kind of sort of occupied a space as kind of a middle ground between both WWE and AEW. The WWE influence in Bloodsport is growing. Nick Khan was there at the one over WrestleMania weekend, and now we're increasingly seeing NXT wrestlers. Charlie Dempsey and Carmen Petrovic were at Bloodsport earlier this week, and it's not the first time for Dempsey, and you just sense that WWE are kind of getting their claws in a little bit. So it's interesting that happens at the same time that AEW move away. Maybe there's something to that as well. That's speculation.
Well, this is what I was thinking there, because obviously off the back of this, with them saying that's it, no more AEW talent. We know often, the stories we report subsequently are discovered to be sort of just basically a PR battle between the two companies. Very interesting to see now if WWE swoops in and goes, you know what? Why don't you have yourself I don't know, AJ Styles.
We'll send you somebody, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, we are friend to the indies actually.
I wish I could remember. Let us know in the comments if you remember the story. I feel like something almost identical to that happened in maybe 2019, where AEW sent wrestlers after certain like NXT talent. I think NXT UK talent were pulled.
That might
and
be
AEW like, oh, we've got some guys. You have these guys, and it was like seen as like a magnanimous gesture in the early days. Remind me who that was, but it's funny how like wrestling companies can indeed sort of take advantage of that situation, as you say. I sense you might be right. I sense like spotting how much this is blowing up. WWE might swoop in and look as if they're kind of like white knights in the situation.
Yeah.
It's all right. Take some of our talent.
Take Lexis King.
We'd like nothing more than Ridge Holland to get the reps.
How about the family coming to yeah, obviously do that. Right, anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Ricky Starks, though, because, well, everyone's talking about him at the moment for understandable reasons. Please, God, let him just be back in a wrestling ring soon. But he's...
Maybe next May.
He's... On Chris Van Vliet's Insight, you've probably seen all this because I certainly have. Clips exploding all over the place, particularly him talking about a promo with Adam Copeland, which is worth checking out. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about his backstage heat from WWE visits. We know all about him, of course. Yep. Security camera footage or whatever it was.
That was kind of gross.
Being at the Royal Rumble last year, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, he was at the Rumble last year, but in 2023,
yes.
He was in a box at WrestleMania 40, and that was like just pictures of friends.
Was just nice.
Security footage was.
But yeah, he's talked about visiting Cody Rhodes backstage, the heat that got him. He said, I had people from my job. One guy was like, "Were you at the Rumble last night?" And I said, "Yeah. What the F about it?" And he goes, "Just saying, it's a bad look. We got people on our own program talking about other people at the other company, but yet having my security footage leaked is a bad look. Give me a break." Talking about sitting in a box at WrestleMania 40. He said there was no issue about that. There was no issue at all. Only because before I had went, Tony Rory said, "Hey, it's okay." There was no issue. I still today don't see a problem with it. Regardless of where I work, I'm going to go and support people that I love, and I'm going to go and support wrestling in general. I'll talk a little bit more about what he thinks is going on between him and AEW in a second, but there was also a report from Fightful Select you may have seen doing the rounds. Some great reporting from them, all about this. About the fact that regards to his contract situation, they've learned via numerous AEW sources that AEW had an option year in the spring of 2024 on Ricky Starks' contract, which they have picked up, which extends his stay until the spring or summer of 2025. Those that we spoke to said that prior to the option being picked up, he was hoping to test the open market. I think it's not exactly a secret that Ricky Starks has at least one eye on potentially jumping to WWE. The fact that his mate Cody Rhodes is there, and I don't know what's going on with the way they're utilising him in AEW, but he has thoughts, again, from Chris Van Vliet's brilliant interview with him. Shout out to friend of the channel, of course. What he thinks is going on between him and AEW, well, Ricky Starks says, "Beats me. I could have 1,000 theories about what really is going on. The fact of the matter is I don't have a definitive answer. I can't just make up and interpret people and just assume. Would I love to know the exact reason? For sure. Do I have speculations about why? Absolutely, but that does nothing. To speak on things that I speculate on does nothing for that situation. It just sucks," he continues. "It's been a cold day in Austin. It may have been cold for the past 9 months. Thankfully, I have a sweater, and I'm always ready to keep the warmth going." I'm sure he is.
Well, and again, as you kind of say, maybe the man in the middle, a little bit of a situation with AEW and GCW, but when it comes at a time when he's in the middle of stories about Ricky Starks, it does feel like a very sort of like there is a wrestling universe that is yet again having discussion around his future, so it doesn't hurt when you're in that kind of industry to be getting this conversation going. It doesn't hurt Chris Van Vliet as well. Like, obviously we went back above him in the podcast charts after we used our very own Simon Miller against us.
Yeah.
And we were just thinking, great, that's that threat neutralised, and now this one's going to blatantly shoot to the top as well. The main thing is we're all backbeating the dead man.
Yeah,
so
actually, just watch Chris Van Vliet on YouTube. Then you don't have to listen to his podcast.
Yeah.
There you go.
Podcast charts are looking lovely.
Just watch it. It's better, if anything.
I like seeing those like 90s graphics. There's one called like Benno and Hamflet in Your House. I don't know what it's about, but it sounds like a great podcast. Let's see that one.
But yeah, I really like Ricky Starks, and it's been baffling for me for so long that they haven't been utilising him. And he says he doesn't know what's going on. I know it was Andrew Pollard asking him a while
back.
Still
worth watching if you never have, because it only adds like further context from this from about 3 months ago.
Yeah, because he was like, "Well, what's going on with you? Are you injured?" And he's like, "Nope, ready to go."
Yeah.
I think with a talent such as Ricky Starks, with such potential, in his 20s, just ready and round to go. I do think sometimes if you're not going to use him, just let him go. let him go and do what he wants to do. But they picked up this option year, so he's going to be there until spring or summer of next year. But I would not be surprised if he's in WWE by the end of 2025, let's say.
He's getting paid as well, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not one of them, an option is that two sides can agree on where like money is made. So I guess it's not as if he's out there on the open market, like scrabbling around for work, shall we say? But
I hope we bump into him at Wale Mania next year.
Well, it's just a piece.
He's a lovely man. Touched his back.
Wale Mania,
I'll never forget it.
That's the event that takes place sort of like before WrestleMania, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we'd have to be out in Las Vegas for that to happen. So. Wait and see.
I'll tell you where we won't be, which is at a stadium in Australia, and nor will All Elite Wrestling.
Good point, yeah. We'll be at the moved venue.
Yeah, well, indeed, yeah, we'll definitely be at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. We probably won't.
Sorry, sorry, Aussies.
I would love to. We've got lots of friends in Australia. I'm not going to make Ryan Bleeper swear there. But yes, AEW have moved. This was looking increasingly likely over the last few days, and we can basically confirm the news today. Various ticket holders got an email sent through yesterday that just said that the promotion AEW...
Oh, sorry, do you want me to...
Yeah, please do. Yes, of course, yeah.
Says, G'day, mate. The promoter of AEW Grand Slam Australia wishes to advise you that the venue for Grand Slam Australia on Saturday, 15th of February 2025 has been changed to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. And he puts the address. Ticket holders do not need to take any action. Your new event tickets will send you ticket wrap in the next 2 weeks. Stadium tickets will not be valid at the new venue. Any inquiries, please contact Ticket or...
Contact where?
Ticket.
Okay.
Regards, Ticket team. Reroute.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So any of you Flaming Galahs that have already bought tickets for the event...
It's pretty good that we're not going to Australia, isn't it, really?
It might be for the best. You don't... Well, there's 2 reasons. One, because you've offended the entire country, and 2, the Kangaroos are absolutely... Jack! Give me your dog! Give me your dog!
You can't come in, mate. No ticket.
Yeah, just bounce on the door. Hi, it's Kangaroos. Anyway, we've alienated enough for years, but if you are looking forward to the show, you don't need to worry about anything like that. The date's the same, the ticket's the same, they've just moved the venue.
Still in Brisbane, isn't it? Yeah.
Still in Brisbane. 13,000 and change for that venue.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stadium itself, a stadium show in general is a tough thing to do. We should never take it for granted that AEW can do this, and WWE obviously do it with their big events, but I guess on this occasion, a bit of a stretch too far, and you would expect them to do a very healthy, if not sold out house there. It's where WWE have run previously. It's a nice setup for wrestling, combat sports, that sort of thing. Let us know in the comments if you're going and how this changes your
perception
of it.
We've heard a lot from people, haven't we, when they first booked their venue of like, why are they doing that?
I think it's just a different... Australia in general, and WWE experienced this to an extent with Perth as well, obviously.
Yeah.
We saw by the amount of clips about Perth that they'd obviously, they were in lockstep with the tourism board about why they were there. So
there's adverts.
A lot of
adverts.
But AEW moving to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, but I would expect it to be maybe a hotter night for the move. To put a positive spin on maybe a bit of negative.
We said before, we were talking about it on the podcast and Googling tickets, and it was just like, oh God, you can buy tickets for literally everywhere in that venue. And I just think it makes sense. Me and Andy talked a lot about it yesterday. Look, yes, it's admission that you've not sold as many tickets as you were hoping for based on the VIP ticket sales, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have that than just like this cavernous arena with half the seats empty. But what is it, mid-February? So
yes,
I mean,
February 15th.
That's getting closer each day, and then home and away. I'd love to know your thoughts on.
There are still tickets available, of course. So if you've got one and you haven't got anyone to go with because you've got no flipping mates, you could always call your neighbours.
And even if you don't know them, that's how neighbours obviously would
become good friends.
Dr. Carl Kennedy. Right. Matt Camp. Let's talk about Matt Camp. He is now appearing on AEW. He was, of course, one of the main guys on WWE's The Bump for 5 years, basically. He joined the company WWE, this is in September of 2019. He also was on Raw Talk and the SmackDown Lowdown, and I saw loads of stuff on his socials about NXT Level Up and things like that.
Got released just after the Rock, and he was like, hey guys, great to work here, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Early 2024.
He seemed a great presenter. He was released in February of 2024. But now he's hosted, I should say, last night on AEW. Inside the Continental Classic, he, of course, kicks off tonight on AEW Dynamite. You can go and watch it on their social medias and probably on their YouTube channel and stuff like that. Yeah, he's just running through all the competitors in that. What do you make of the lineup of the Continental Classic?
I'm going to let the matches do the talking. I think there are some, to go for the headline one, I think obvious that with Konosuke Takeshita being missing, I think that's sort of like, it wasn't just about the fantasy booking of him going all the way to Okada, it was about the other matches, the friends we could make along the way, as it were. So they were all immediately taken out. But, so yeah, I wasn't initially that hot on it, and then the more you look at it, the more you drill in, you watch this Matt Camp thing, or you kind of think of the potential permutations. It's not just matches, is it? As we go along, a pairing is going to matter more for the points they're on, or for who gets that win. And I started to kind of like fantasy book my way into enjoying this. I am kind of rooting for Daniel Garcia, not just to have a good tournament and to kind of like, I don't want to use restore the feeling, but basically remind people of why there's so much faith in him. But also because they told such a brilliant story of him having to work hard just to get one win in last year's CT. He's got that TNT title now. If he gets Okada, it would be potentially consolidating 2 belts. Always a fan of that. So yeah, I like Ricochet. I think will be.
He's in the same bracket as Ospreay, isn't he?
Yeah, so that's a guarantee. And you sense he'll be wanting to prove himself. He's made some, big comments ahead of Full Gear, and the match against Takeshita wasn't that well received. So, I like.
Briscoe's in it as well, isn't he?
He is.
Always love Briscoe.
Like AEW's perennial top babyface, kind of whenever they want to do it. There is a lot there to like. I think I'll be doing that like kind of thing a lot of people did with Full Gear. I'm like, go on then. Entertain me in that. But I am ready and willing to sort of be dragged into it.
Like you're saying, related to this story, go and check out Matt Camp talking all about it. Brilliant presenter and a fantastic rundown. Best luck to him. Hopefully you can see more in AEW doing that sort of thing. And looking forward to the Continental Classic tonight on AEW Dynamite, which you can get excited for by checking out the AEW Dynamite preview podcast, which is coming your way later on today. Just like we will be with the after news. But for now, why not check out this video right here. We'll see you soon.